They all translate it, the darkness has not understood it. The darkness has not comprehended it. Now you're stuck there, but you're not any more stuck than the Greek scholars are, because you got Greek scholars translating all these versions, and they're disagreeing with each other about whether it should be translated overcome or understand. And there's a very simple reason. This word, katalambano, is like, here's the closest analogy I can think of. It's like our word grasp. Very close to our word grasp. You know the word grasp has two meanings, don't you? You can either grasp something and do something bad with it, or you can grasp an idea and understand it. This is not hard. We do this in English, and they do it in Greek, and so the ambiguity is there. I'm inclined to think, since John is not stupid, he knew exactly that ambiguity existed and meant to leave it that way, so that we would say, I wonder if he means the darkness hasn't grasped it and squashed it, or the darkness just can't even get what it is. It's just dumb, it's just dead. Because both are absolutely true. However, I'm opting for understand as his main meaning, and here's the reason. You can see it, don't need Greek to see it. Verses 10 and 11 are going to talk that way about the coming of the light into the darkness. He came to his own, and they didn't know him. Not they didn't kill him, but they didn't know him. Let me read verse 10. He was in the world, and the world was made through him, yet the world did not know him, didn't grasp him, didn't understand him, didn't comprehend him. They're dead. They're blind. And I think that corresponds to verse 5. The darkness has not understood it. Verse 11. He came to his own, and his own people did not receive him. So, the true light is coming into the world. The world was made through him. People were chosen by him, Israel. I suspect both of those are meant here in verse 10 and 11. He came to his own. He was in the world, and the world was made through him. He came to his own. That is, everybody is his own because he made them. The world is Jesus. It belongs to him. But he also, in the Old Testament, chose Israel. And so coming to your own at a narrower level would be he came to his own, and they didn't receive him. The people of Israel that he was offering himself to for their Messiah didn't receive him. It says in verse 9, this light was coming into the world, enlightening everyone. What does that mean? It enlightens everyone. I'll give you my take, and you test it. And so many of these choices that you make and how you understand a text are confirmed or not by the rest of what you read in the gospel. It's kind of hard to make a big case for everything right here when page after page is going to either confirm one way of understanding or another. So I'm just giving it out there. You keep it in your mind and weigh it as we go through. I'm going to take enlightens everyone, not to mean some kind of he's the ultimate logos that is in every human brain. I don't think that's in John's mind at all, frankly. I think enlightens everyone means that Christ gives life to everyone who receives it. Here's the analogy for understanding it that way. A doctor says, this flu vaccine works for everyone. Okay? Come fall, that's what you're going to hear on the radio. Got plenty of flu vaccine. Come on, all you stupid Minnesotans. Get your shots. It works for everybody. But what they mean is those who get the shots. So when he says he enlightens everyone, he means if you receive him, light will happen. If you receive his life, you'll see. So that's the way I understand verse 9. Now, last question. What does God do to keep the darkness from overcoming the light? To return to that implication. If they're not knowing him, if they're not receiving him, what are they doing? They're going to kill him. In killing him, are they overcoming the light? And as he meets resistance everywhere he goes from so many, even disciples are going to leave him in chapter 6 because he says hard things, and little teeny band of people, you got about 120 after 3 years of ministry, and he's the Son of God. That's not a very effective church plant. Well, it was incredibly effective. Just wasn't impressive. So he's getting this resistance all over the place. What does God do so that this resistance can be overcome, rather than it overcoming the light? And you know where I'm going. I'm going to verses 12 and 13 because that's the answer. I think I'm being guided by the flow here of what he's doing. He's answering my question. He gave me my question by answering it. What do you do if you're dead? And if your friends are dead and your family's dead and you don't want to be dead and you can't see and you want to see what has to happen? All right, now let's read the answer to that question. Verse 12. But to all who did receive him, so he came to his own, they didn't receive him, but to all who did receive him, that is, another word for receive, who believed in his name, he gave the right to become the children of God. How did that happen? Verse 13 is going to tell you how that happened. They were born, who were born, this is where new birth comes from. They were born not of blood, so it wasn't two bloodlines coming together in a man and woman to produce another one, nor of the will of the flesh. It wasn't just some physical activity by which you came into being, nor was it the will of a husband or a man, but you were born of God. So he came into the world. He came to his own didn't receive him. They were dead, they were blind, but some did receive him. Some did. Who were they? Why did they? They were dead. They were dead. Some dead people didn't receive him. Not a surprise. Some dead people did. Very surprising. Dead people don't receive Jesus. They laugh at him. They scorn him. They watch television and skip that channel. Well, it says they were born of God. That's what happened. In verse 13, they were born of God. Not of blood, not of the will of flesh, nor the will of man, but they were born of God. And because they're born of God, they're what? Alive. Life. Go back to verse 4. Verse 13 is describing how verse 4, in practical experience, becomes real for you. In him was life. But you're dead, and deadness means you don't want him. So what hope is there for anybody to get saved? Well, none in us. It's not like you and your Christian family had a real strong spiritual proclivity to believe. Well, that's bad theology. I mean, bad is an understatement. I should use bad words to describe how bad that theology is. A little reminder. John chapter 3, wish we could do it all at once, but we have to take it as it comes. This is Nicodemus. You remember what Jesus said? Truly, truly, I say to you, unless one is born again, he cannot what? Anybody remember? He cannot see the kingdom.